Thank you, everyone, for this exciting session. The issue of power relationships in food systems is not only very close to us as a farmers organization, but I think is the key for a food systems transformation. And unquestionably, food systems have failed, and that is why a UN Food Systems Summit has come into being. When we only barely address the symptoms or the outcomes and refuse to acknowledge and correct inherent imbalances in the food systems, it's like focusing on the tree and missing out on the forest. We have issues like consolidation in food value chain, reframing of WTO rules which drive millions into poverty and forced migration, biased and unconscious bias in public research, which now is being forced to look for funds from private individuals, which do not address the externalities in the food systems. Matter of fertilizer cartels, skewed measurement metrics, government issues, governance issues of philanthropists and businesses, big technology shaping how government regulations and public perceive laws, when policies make farmers dependent on markets, and such issues are left off the table, more often one gets a haunting feeling that we are going backwards rather than forwards. The only silver lining, Tim, here is that this destructive food economy was created by public money and public policy, and thus can be reversed. Imbalances in the food systems are in many forms and have existed since eternity. And what we have added as an educated society is that we have added a representational asymmetry where society has reached a conclusion that producers and less articulate aren't good stewards of knowledge and thus are not required at the table. Because we lack external barriers like social accountability, the imbalance relationship is not self-correcting. Let's try and convince those who are making policy. It's difficult, but it's paramount to create awareness amongst the people about this darkness, not only to pressurize the policymakers, but also to give the politicians space to make the change when they commit to it. The importance of collectivization has been addressed by all speakers today as an approach can help exercise agency in unequal systems. Even though we are, as producers in millions, we keep losing because they make us think we are alone. The pandemic has made apparent that the food and health of the planet are connected and governments are failing to deliver. It is time for a social movement centered on collaboration, activism of producers, consumers, stakeholder capitalism is a part of that. But more importantly, I think a mere dismantling of power is not enough because it invariably leads to its replacement by a larger, sinister force, as we have seen happening across the world. Therefore, dialogues become critical to solve the crisis. Not only does those in power need to develop a system of trust and space for others to join, but more importantly, those unwilling to engage because the table was set must come to the table, not only because options are limited, but the window of survival for future generations is closing fast. And like Jay very correctly said, that let's repair the relationship of humans with other species. This is not just about power relationships within the human species. I think so it is also a relationship with the other species on the planet. So let's not keep silent, but also engage.